I've been in a couple of interviews in the past few months, and after meeting with different interviewers and recruiters going through different processes, I have learned a couple of tips. In this video, I'll be sharing 2 of these tips which I believe can help you be more successful at interviews or to leave good impressions towards interviewers. These tips I'll be sharing are based on the positive feedback that I got from some of the interviewers during the interviews. The first positive feedback I got, which I believe can be a useful tip for you, is having your resume fitting in one page. One of the recruiters during the interview, the first thing he said when the interview started was, "Thank you for making your resume fit into one page and for including all the necessary skills that I needed to see on that page." The recruiter talked about how for some applicants they have maybe 3 or 4 pages, and all of these pages are saying the same thing, and of course it kind of discourages them or stresses them going through all of those pages to find if you have the right skills for the job. But because I had the necessary skills for the role I was applying for, all of them in one page, the recruiter was able to, at a glance, see if the skills I had were good for the job or if they weren't. So I would recommend that if your resume is spanning across multiple pages, you should try as much as possible to reduce it to one page, or at least you can make it 2 pages, of course with the first page showing the most important information and the second page showing the extra information that couldn't fit on the first page. What do I mean by most important information? For the job that you are applying for, you check what the responsibilities are or what the requirements are, and you ensure that the things you have on your resume fit the job. Just like in my case, I had my writing and my content creation skills, which I believe were a good fit for a job. I had them in the resume, and this was one of the things that the recruiter complimented. On the screen you can see an example of my resume. I am not the best at creating resumes, I'm not a professional at creating resumes, but this is the best that I could create, and you can see everything, all my work experience, my skills. I tried as much as possible to fit it in one page, and for the recruiter to say this was a good thing, I also believe it is a good thing. Right? The second positive feedback I got from one of the interviewers during my different interviews across companies was that they were impressed to see that I already had an idea of the task I'll be working on when I joined the company. So the recruiter just spontaneously, I didn't even expect it, the recruiter just asked, "What is the task you think you would immediately start working on? What task do you have in your head I believe you would start with when you join the company?" And I was able to answer with an interesting task of what I thought I'll be working on. And how did I have an idea of this task? This was based on the different questions I've been asking in the previous interviews and the different information that the interviewer has shared with me. So I already had an idea that when I joined this company, I believe this would be the first task that I would work on. And of course I could be wrong, but that was what I had in my head. So given the interviewer this answer that this is what I think I'll be working on, I'll try to fix this and resolve that and do this and do that before I ask for my next task. They were impressed to see that. They talked about how that was better than me not having an idea of what to work on and coming into the company, and then my first question is like, okay, where do I start from? But for the fact that I already had something in mind showed how enthusiastic and interested I was in the job. So I would also recommend for you that if you are going through different interviews, try to ask the necessary questions. Ask questions like, what are your responsibilities? What does the company expect from you, or what do they expect you to do when you join the company? What are the problems to be fixed, or the duties that would be placed in your hands? When you ask all of those questions, and also when you pay attention to what the interviewers are saying, talking about the problems they have, talking about the need for that role that you are applying for, you'll be able to have an idea which makes you look more interested and more enthusiastic about the job. And just like it happened in my case, this can also make you leave a good impression towards the interviewers. So these are the 2 tips I'll be sharing in these videos. Of course, there are still a couple of tips that I've learned all through this whole interview job search process. I'll try to document as many of them that I can remember, and I'll try to make videos on them. So if you'd love to see them, do subscribe and turn on video notifications, and also like and share this video if you have found it helpful. Peace.